We chatted for a few more minutes, but the smiles on my husband and mother-in-law's faces slowly disappeared. "Laura, are you okay?" my husband asked, his tone shifting. "What?" I replied, caught off guard. "Never mind," I added quickly, brushing it off. But I could sense my husband's impatience. It felt like he was up to something. Just then, my mother-in-law abruptly stood up, clutching her stomach. "Ouch! Oh no," she exclaimed, rushing to the bathroom. "Mom, what's happening? Are you okay?" my husband called out, alarmed. "Why is my stomach hurting so much?" "This can't be. Laura, did you switch the tea?" she demanded. "I did," I admitted. "I switched it with your mother." "Why on earth would you do that?" My husband cut me off. "What's the problem if I did?" I retorted. "My name is Laura. I'm a 30-year-old office worker, and I've been married to my husband Joshua for 2 years. We met through work. He joined the company mid-career from a client I was managing. At first, he struggled to adjust to the new environment, but the next time I saw him, he had adapted remarkably well. I thought he was a clever man. As we spent more time together, we grew closer, going on dates and sharing meals. Eventually, he confessed his feelings, and we began dating officially. Our relationship progressed smoothly, and soon after, he proposed and we got married. In the beginning, our newlywed life felt perfect. Joshua isn't much of a cook, so I took charge of the kitchen, while he handled the cleaning and laundry. He even took out the trash without needing to be asked, something I really appreciated. But lately, something has changed in him. His attitude toward me has shifted. He used to follow me everywhere, craving my attention like a puppy. I often had to remind him to be patient, but now, that eagerness has vanished. The sweet tone he once used has been replaced with a distant coolness. "What's for dinner?" he asked one evening, his voice devoid of enthusiasm. "Hamburgers, your favorite," I replied. "Okay," was all he said, barely acknowledging my effort. It stung. I'd gone out of my way to make something he loves, and yet his reaction was so indifferent. He used to be so affectionate. I wonder if he'll ever be that way with me again. It's not just Joshua that's been troubling me. My mother-in-law has been a source of stress since the start of our marriage. "Laura, why didn't you prepare any snacks?" she once complained. "I'm sorry, but you dropped by unannounced," I explained. "Still, you should always be prepared," she snapped back, always finding fault with me. No, that can't be. Up until recently, my husband had always defended me, standing up to my mother-in-law whenever she criticized me. But now, he started to join her in picking on me. "I really don't think Laura is considerate, do you?" he asked her one day. "It's a wife's duty to always be prepared when my mother comes over," she chimed in. "If you keep this up, you never know when I might leave you," he added, threatening divorce in a way that felt so unlike him. His change in behavior left me feeling hurt and confused. I still wanted to believe in him, but sadness weighed heavily on me. Then, one weekend, something strange happened. My mother-in-law came to visit, bringing with her an expensive-looking tea and some sweets. She seemed unusually cheerful as she offered them to me. "I went out of my way to find the finest tea today. Let's enjoy it together," she said with an unusually warm smile. There was something off about her sudden kindness, but I couldn't quite figure out what. My husband then offered to make the tea himself, which was odd given that he'd been so demanding of me lately. "Thank you, Mother. I'll make the tea today," he said, surprising me. Usually, he would have ordered me to hurry up and prepare the table for his mother. So why was he being so nice today? I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling growing inside me. He handed me a cup of tea with a grin, and my mother-in-law leaned in to inhale its aroma. "Wow, it smells amazing," she said, her nose almost touching the cup. I hesitated and sniffed my tea. It smelled like regular tea, but something seemed off. There were tiny bubbles floating on the surface, definitely not normal. This isn't right, I thought. I shouldn't drink this. But what can I do? How can I swap this tea without them noticing? Then an idea struck me. "Mother-in-law, your favorite Korean singer was on a music show the other night. I recorded it for you if you'd like to watch." Her eyes lit up. "Oh, really? I'd love to see it. I'll watch it right away." As she reached for the remote control, I turned to my husband. "Didn't you prepare any snacks? You made the tea, but forgot the snacks." He bristled at the suggestion. He hated being told he had overlooked something. "I was just about to do that," he muttered, heading to the kitchen to grab plates and snacks. Seizing the opportunity, I quickly swapped my tea with my mother-in-law's. They returned to the table, none the wiser. "Well, let's enjoy this fine tea, shall we?" my mother-in-law said, lifting her cup. "Yes, it's a special one," my husband added. They both sipped their tea, eyes fixed on me as I cautiously tasted mine. "It definitely has a different flavor," I remarked. My husband and mother-in-law exchanged knowing grins. "I know, right? It's unique," she said, laughing. "Yeah, it's delicious," my husband added, their laughter filling the room. They seemed so pleased with themselves, clearly expecting a reaction from me. I could only think, they must have put something in this tea. But I smiled and said, "Yes, it's very good," before finishing my cup. Their grins remained, but as the minutes passed, their smiles began to wane. "Laura, are you feeling okay?" my husband asked, his tone more urgent now. "What?" I responded, feigning ignorance. "Nothing, never mind," I said, watching his impatience grow. He must have planned something, but then suddenly my mother-in-law shot up from her seat, clutching her stomach. "Ouch! Oh," she cried out, rushing to the bathroom. "Mom, what's wrong? Why is my stomach hurting so much?" "Oh no, no way," my husband stammered, panic creeping into his voice. "Laura, you didn't switch the tea, did you?" "I switched mine with your mother's," I said, watching the color drain from my husband's face. "What? Why would you do that?" he asked, panic evident in his voice. "Why not? Was there something wrong with the tea you served me? Does that mean you put something harmful in it?" He stammered, "No, it's just that." "Tell me the truth, or you won't be able to handle what's happening to your mother right now. This could be serious." Realizing he had no other choice, he confessed, "I put a large amount of powdered laxative in your tea." My eyes widened in shock. "Are you out of your mind? Of course, she have an upset stomach, and in large quantities it could be dangerous, even fatal." His face turned ashen. "Really? Oh no? Call an ambulance." Without hesitation, I dialed emergency services, and soon my mother-in-law was being rushed to the hospital, my husband frantic as he followed her out the door. Once they were gone, I took the tea he had laced with laxatives and carefully poured it into a water bottle. I knew I needed to keep it as evidence. "I'll take this to the police and file a report," I decided. While my husband and mother-in-law were at the hospital, I packed up my belongings, knowing it was time to leave this toxic situation behind. I called my parents and asked them to help me move my belongings. Once everything was packed up, I headed to their house. Shortly after arriving, my phone rang. It was my husband. "My mom's in bad shape," he began, his voice strained. "She has to stay in the hospital for a few days, so I need you to bring her a change of clothes and some other things, okay?" I was stunned by his request. "What? Are you serious? I'm not doing that." "Hey, you can't just refuse. My mom's in trouble. You're my wife. You should at least do that." "I can't do this anymore," I said firmly. "I'm divorcing you." He was silent for a moment before responding, "Divorce? I see. If you're insisting on a divorce, then I guess I have no choice. But since you're the one asking for it, don't expect a share of our property." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "What are you talking about? This is on you. You're the reason I'm filing for divorce, and I'll take what's rightfully mine." "Don't be ridiculous. You won't get a dime from me. The divorce was your idea. This isn't my fault." His words made my skin crawl. "You're delusional. You tried to force me to drink a cup of laxative tea. How can you possibly think you're not at fault?" I wanted to remind him that I had solid evidence against him, but before I could say anything, he abruptly hung up. "Fine. I thought I have plenty to do, like finding a lawyer. I'll deal with him later." In the days that followed, my husband bombarded me with messages, demanding to know why I'd taken all my belongings and accusing me of abandoning the house. He even complained that the place was falling apart without me to do the chores. "Didn't you say you wanted a divorce?" I texted back. "You'll have to take care of the house on your own once it's finalized." I had so many things I wanted to say to him, but I held back until I had secured a lawyer. Then, not long after my mother-in-law was discharged from a hospital, my husband and his parents showed up at my parents' house. Their expressions were grim. "Divorce is out of the question," my husband announced arrogantly, "but I'll comply if I must. You didn't even visit my mom in the hospital after what happened, and then you just left, taking all your things. How can I stay married to someone like that?" My mother-in-law shot me a nasty look, and it was clear they only told their side of the story to my father-in-law, who seemed to believe them. Laura, my father-in-law began, I think you're being a little selfish. I almost laughed at the irony. My father-in-law was the only sane person in that family, and I knew he would see things differently if he heard the whole story. I took out my phone and played an audio clip for everyone to hear. I had actually planted a large amount of powdered laxative in Laura's tea, my husband's voice confessed. The room fell silent as the gravity of the evidence sank in. My husband and mother-in-law's faces drained of color, their earlier bravado evaporating. How did that conversation come about? My husband stammered, realizing he had unwittingly sealed his own fate. Father, I began, turning to my father-in-law. I felt I was in danger. I quickly switched my tea with my mother-in-law's. Moments later, she started suffering from stomach pains. She has always bullied me, and though Joshua used to defend me, recently, they've been ganging up on me. This time, he crossed the line. My father-in-law's face turned crimson with anger as he glared at my husband and mother-in-law. Joshua, what's going on? Were you really bullying her too? Caught off guard, they both struggled to explain themselves. No, wait, Dad, it was just a joke, my husband stammered. Laura wasn't feeling well, so I thought it'd be funny to mess with her tea. It was just a harmless prank. I wasn't bullying her. And I was just playing around, my mother-in-law chimed in. It wasn't bullying. My father-in-law wasn't buying it. Whether you think it's a joke or not, this kind of behavior is unacceptable. Do you really think you can get away with this? I took a deep breath, knowing I had one more card to play. This explains why Joshua's been so terrible to me, I said, reaching into my bag and pulling out an envelope. I spread its contents, photographs, across the table. My husband's face turned even paler as he recognized the images. Did you think I wouldn't find out? I continued, my voice steady. Your behavior was so suspicious that I hired a private investigator. I didn't want to believe you were having an affair, but the evidence speaks for itself. You were probably hoping to push me into asking for a divorce first, weren't you? My husband was sweating now, visibly shaken. He knew I had him cornered. I reached into my bag once more and produced the divorce papers, placing them in front of him. No matter how foolish you are, you must realize that in this situation you have no advantage. Sign these, and maybe we can avoid making this even messier. He stared at the papers, his hands trembling, as the reality of his situation finally set in. Of course, I'll be seeking alimony, and I expect a fair share of the property. And just so you know, I'll be reporting you for assault for planting the laxative, I said, my voice steady. My husband's eyes widened in panic. The police? Wait, don't you feel any sympathy for Joshua? Sympathy? For what? I retorted. It's not just Joshua who's at fault. You're just as guilty, mother-in-law. He was working with you. Wait a minute. Why should I be arrested? It was Joshua who put the laxative in the tea, she protested. Mom, you were part of the scheme. Don't try to shift the blame entirely onto him. What? You think I helped because you found a new potential husband, she shot back. As my husband and mother-in-law began arguing, neither willing to take responsibility, my father-in-law finally had enough. Enough, he bellowed. You both committed a crime. Take responsibility for your actions, and Joshua, you need to own up to the affair. You're to pay Laura the alimony she deserves, and she will get her share of the property. The force of my father-in-law's anger left my husband and mother-in-law stunned. I was relieved he stepped in because my own father was on the verge of losing his temper as well. Let's handle the rest through the lawyers, I said. Get these divorce papers signed immediately. My husband hesitated, but after another round of yelling from my father-in-law, he begrudgingly signed the documents. I'm truly sorry for the trouble my son and my wife have caused you, my father-in-law said, offering his apology as he took my husband and mother-in-law home. With the divorce finalized, I moved forward with my legal actions. I filed for alimony against my ex-husband and his affair partner, receiving $30,000 from each. I also reported my ex-husband and mother-in-law for assault, submitting the audio recording and the tea as evidence. Both were arrested and fined. In an unexpected turn, my ex-father-in-law, repulsed by the chaos caused by my ex-mother-in-law, asked for a divorce from her. She ended up having to fend for herself, working part-time at a low-paying job to cover the fines. As for my ex-husband, his affair partner was furious with him for lying and causing so much trouble. After a heated confrontation, she demanded alimony. He ended up borrowing money from a consumer loan to pay her off in one lump sum. Soon after, she disappeared, leaving him with a massive debt. In the end, my ex-husband found himself abandoned by both me and his affair partner, burdened with debt and facing the consequences of his actions. It was a fitting outcome for his betrayal. On the bright side, I achieved what I set out to do. I secured my fair share of the property and am now living comfortably on my own in a new apartment. I've been working hard and recently received a well-deserved promotion. To celebrate, I'm planning a trip with friends or perhaps with my parents. It's important to remember that intentionally poisoning someone's tea with laxatives is a serious crime, not a prank. My husband and mother-in-law's actions were far from harmless, and they deserve to face the consequences for their actions. Thankfully, my father-in-law proved to be a decent person who understood my situation, which was a small comfort amidst the chaos. Despite the disaster that unfolded, I'm hopeful for the future. I'm looking forward to finding someone who truly appreciates and respects me. For now, I'm focusing on enjoying my newfound independence and the positive changes in my life.